Right now, while most of our focus is on the capturing the Venezuelan government, as that's the headline, what's happening domestically as we speak in our states? One of the largest interior immigration enforcement operation in recent history is quietly unfolding right as we speak right now. 2,000 ICE agents, not at the border, but inside American communities. And tonight, U.S. senators are warning that this operation could be pulling agents away from investigations involving child exploitations, drug trafficking, and violent crime. So the question is not just what ICE is doing, but what is this shift meaning for public safety, immigrant families, and the future enforcement for the rest of 2026? According to reports from the Wall Street Journal, Immigration and Custom Enforcement (ICE) have deployed approximately 2,000 agents in the state of Minnesota as part of the large-scale fraud and enforcement operation. This is not a border surge. This is not asylum processing. This is interior enforcement. This operation is basically tied to a broad investigation into immigration-related fraud, including document misuse, benefit frauds, and potential crime network exploiting the immigration systems. And what makes this moment significant is not just the investigation itself, but the scale of it. ICE does conduct targeted operations regularly, but deploying 2,000 agents to a single state is highly unusual and signals a deliberate policy shift. Is basically telling us something very important. The federal government is recentering enforcement inside the country, not just as ports of entry or the southern border. Now, interior enforcement has always been one of the most politically and socially sensitive areas of immigration policy, because when enforcement moves inside communities, guess what this is affecting? Workplaces, homes, schools, families. Unlike border encounters, interior enforcement often involves long settled immigrants, mixed status households, and U.S. citizen children. That's why this deployment immediately raised alarms, not just among advocacy groups, but inside the U.S. Senate. A group of 29 U.S. senators sent a formal warning to Department of Homeland Security. Their concern is basically that they say ICE is reassigning tens of thousands of personnel, estimate points to over 28,000 agents away from investigation involving, as we said, child sexual exploitations, human trafficking, drug smuggling, and violent transnational crimes. Now, in other words, this redeployment risks weakening public safety enforcement in favor of the broad immigration crackdown. And what has this administration always been about? Oh, we want to have tighter border controls. We want to go ahead and make sure we are fighting drug smuggling. We are fighting us right now. Venezuelan president is supposedly captured because of drug trafficking and all of that stuff. So it's like, if you're reassigning interior enforcements within the cities, what's happening to the ones outside? Is there anyone over there to crack down on these immigrations issue? Now, this is a serious accusation. These senators are not saying fraud should not be investigated, right? We know that's a bad, terrible thing. They're questioning priority and balance. Who should ICE be focusing on, and at what cost? Now, DHS and ICE officials push back immediately strongly against this narrative. They argue that immigration fraud is not a victimless crime. That fraud network often overlaps with labor exploitation, which I do see happening here and there, right? We have seen reports of that. Identity theft, and that is like one of the hardest things to deal with as an American citizen. Organized criminal activity. So from their perspective, for them, cracking down on fraud is a matter of national security and system integrity. We have heard this term, national security, for the past year and a half with this administration. So ICE has also emphasized that agents remain committed to public safety investigations and that enforcement priorities can operate simultaneously. But critics say that the numbers don't lie, and when resources are they're finite, choices reveal policies, direction. So this operation is not happening in isolation. It fits into a broader pattern where we're seeing as U.S. moves deeper into 2026, increase that interior enforcement, tighter fraud scrutiny, less tolerance of discretionary relief. This is a message, but both domestically and globally. So to immigrants inside the U.S., compliance will be scrutinized. To future immigrants, entry alone does not guarantee permanence. And to lawmakers, the battle over immigration enforcement is far from being settled. Whether you see this as a necessary enforcement or dangerous overreach, one thing is very clear. Immigration policy in the United States is shifting, not loudly, not dramatically, but decisively. And what's happening in Minnesota may be a preview of what's coming next. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Bye.